This is awesome. This car is awesome now.
All that driving, all that fun driving, we still have air conditioning.
Guys, we're back. This is where we go over. We've been driving it for 3-4 months. This thing's freaking rad, man. It's fun, it's quick, it's everything you ever wanted out of an FRS, like cheap. It doesn't leak any fluids. Like, it's so cool. The hood closes, it has air conditioning. It's the ultimate driver's car where, you know, if you get into an accident and it goes bye-bye, you're not gonna cry yourself to sleep for months and years because it's not a Mark IV Supra, it's a Scion FRS. But I keep growing closer to it every day because this thing is so fun and I just can't stop thinking about driving it every day. Anyway, long story short, today we're gonna go over a few different things that we changed throughout the process since we've been driving it. The coolant circuit is reversed. We're gonna go ahead and show that over here. Went ahead and made this little aluminum pipe right here to kind of switch. This part needs to go to the top of the radiator as opposed to this thermostat housing needs to go to the bottom of the radiator over here. We actually use the same flexible hose right here, and I actually cut off one of the ears and then rotated this from this direction to 60 degrees that way, and then just re-welded it on there, ground it down, and it seals up great and it doesn't leak. With this one, we still haven't found the correct hose to kind of go from this top system over to the top of the radiator. I literally used the same hose that was on this, and I just welded together some aluminum pipe, and so far it hasn't leaked or hasn't had any issues. So with all that said, we'll try to find something to kind of get you guys going with that little crisscross design from the 3UZ to the FA20 type of radiator situation. Second thing, we're actually gonna go over the AC line creation from scratch using some Amazon fittings. I know that sounds crazy, but one of the users of the kit has done it, and he did it very inexpensively and shared that with us, and I'm really pumped to share that with you guys. We went ahead and talked about it, and he was cool with all of us kind of pulling this information together. If you guys want us to, we will make the lines for you, obviously for a small, you know, charge, but it would be nice if we kind of came up with a jig and then nitrogen tested each one of these to kind of verify that they're leak free and whatnot going forward. But these are easy enough where you guys can do them at home with a DIY kit and a few extra fittings, literally off of Amazon. We'll show you guys kind of what to buy, how to do it, and you know, obviously use your local approved shop to do all the, you know, vacuuming down and filling and stuff like that of the refrigerant, etc., so forth. Moving forward, we revised the transmission tunnel reinforcement bracket system. This is our Rev 3 version of this. We went to a single plate design here, integrating everything, a lot more surface area, integrating that into the vertical and the horizontal portion of it to kind of give it a little bit more of a robust design. We went ahead and went with these angled little wedges right here to kind of tighten this down properly at the correct angle to get everything kind of torqued down correctly. This is a refined version of this. We're going to go ahead and show you guys how to reinstall this. Also, something we didn't show in previous videos is actually how to pull out the carpet without damaging anything. You know, a little short with that. We can kind of go into that in a little bit more detail. All right, we scoured the internet to find how to remove the FRS BRZ FT86 carpet, and these are the tools you need. A number 10 hex socket, female, Phillips head, 10 mil, and that's about it in your hands to pull off the plastics and stuff. Negative right here, 10 mil on the stock terminal. Step 1, 2, seats. I like to do the rear first. Pop these off, put them right there. Pull it back, do the fronts. There's 2 electrical connectors. Under here, you're gonna need a pick if you want it to go fast, unless you're really good with ABS related stuff. I already took the OEM carpet out with these 2 little quarter turn things. Anyway, this kind of tilts back, and then you can get to the clips right here. This right here, there's a little beauty cover that kind of covers up all the clips and whatnot. You can kind of pull forward on that to not break it. Pull inward, and there's like a little clip, and then you pull that back, and then that will reveal these little clips right here. I'm not sure if you can see those right here. There's 2 little clips, 3-wire clip here. There's 2 little clips here, 3-wire clip, and then your airbag. This one's obviously very difficult. It's got like a check on it. You got to pull that check back, and then it kind of I'm always unfamiliar with how these come apart, but this is a very common Toyota clip. This one requires me to have a pick, and it's gonna take me a minute to kind of get this done. Wear safety glasses. I never know how these go. Oh, I got it. Sick. All right, lastly, you can use your fingernail to get the actual harness off of the seat, but another thing that makes it super fast is to get a pair of pliers to kind of edge this off of this little clip bracket right here. The harness clip brackets. But anyway, I just did it manually, whatever. And then this whole thing comes out, literally 2-3 minutes per seat. Seats are done, seat 1. So now over here, you get a better idea of how the plastics are kind of oriented. Obviously you gotta take that off to get the carpet out, but this has to come up. So take your fingers, pull up like that, all the way forward, right here. And then this will come off as well. Then next, there's one of these things here on both sides. Take your fingers and pull out like that. That comes off on both sides. That's done. Center console comes out next. This goes pretty quick. This comes off. I'm just gonna put everything in these little cup holders just to keep track of everything. Or you can thread them in. This is a good strategy. Thread them in where they go. For these specifically, unless you have to sit on them. We'll have to remove this one just to kind of make room, but that's a good way to kind of keep it organized. Keys, and then excess screws I use in cup holders, stuff like that. This little cover right here comes off. I'm not sure if you guys can hear me too good. This little rubber cover comes off. I put stainless screws in there because I forgot what the other ones are, and then I found them, and then I put them back in here. Anyway, these come off right here. And then next, e-brake comes up. This comes up, 2 fingers. There's clips under here, so be careful. That flip off is on it's right here on the passenger side USDM, and it's a tiny little push. Tiny, comes out. Knob off. Unscrew the knob. Again, put the stuff in the center console just to kind of keep it straight. There it is. It's out of the way. What's next? These side little bolsters come off. This whole thing comes off right here. This comes off. I like to put that up here along with this. Not really gonna break anything. Then you got this Phillips head. We're going real fast with those today. These are a lot larger and coarser than the stainless fasteners that I had in there, but anyway, you get the point. Those have to come off in order to get these side portions off right here, these side pieces. See that? And then the rest of this can kind of come off. So, see that? This whole thing kind of, one unit comes off. It's all integrated into the center console removal. So we're gonna go ahead and crawl in here finally. And there's 2 more fasteners right here. Also, we have a revision 3 of the shifter linkage. So it's a little bit longer and it puts the shifter in the correct spot. If we have time, another like 2 minutes, we'll put that in too, just to show you guys that we're making progress on every front to make this swap perfect for you guys. Oh, look at that. Would you just look at it? So that's almost ready to come out. Last connectors right here for the cigarette lighter. Don't forget that. It's right here. Got my hands on it here. You just pull forward, comes right off. It's this connector here. It's that little connector there. So last thing we have is under here to pull all this stuff off. So these 2 things, don't try to take these out until the center console's fully out, because it's blocked by this little piece right here and here. And there's 2 fasteners held in right here and here. And those you can't get to until you get the bezel off. Again, this just pops off with your hands. Those 2 right there. The radio does not need to come out. Once the center console's out, you just take both hands and pull forward, and that comes out. Same thing with this side, and that comes out. The reason you need to take those off, there's these 2 little parts right here that are clipped on. South sausage is made, kids. Strap pays an hour and a half. So this interior is new enough where you pull on it hard enough, it's probably not going to break. All the S chassis stuff from back in the day give it a good yank, it's definitely gonna break. Whether or not it's meant to come out or not, it's just gonna break. So you just gotta come to terms with that. All right, let's take the seat out real quick, and then we're gonna move to driver's side. We still have to lift the carpet off of this back little piece right here, but for the most part, it's just kind of hidden up under there. I'll show you guys that once I get this seat out. Slide it all the way back so you can review the connectors. There's the beauty cover, don't forget. Beauty cover comes up, gets it out of the way, and then you got your connectors right here. Not sure if you can see those or not. Again, you got one. There's a 3-wire on the passenger side. Driver's side's a little bit different. It's got like a small little 2-wire that just comes up quickly. This one's always been a pain in the ass, but I still don't know how it goes. I think you just press one clip and then you press the other clip and then it comes back. Again, I haven't researched or looked up anything about how these are. I think it's a double clip. And then this right here, fingernail or a pair of pliers, one side, and that comes off. And then the whole thing kind of is out like this. All right, so again, this comes off. Don't worry about this. These kind of clips are all pretty good. This one's clipped into the physical carpet in the middle and towards the front. And then right here. And then this comes up, this trim naturally comes up, this comes off. Before you get that off, there's a little tang right here to take that off, to get it off correctly. Yep, just like that. And then you need this tool to make it easy to get this clip out right here. You don't need it, you could do it with a flathead. This just makes it go so much faster. The whole thing comes off in a few seconds. So I usually like to put these back in. And that's it. Fuel, lid, Phillips head. In order to get to this, there's this little thing cover up. Take your finger, pop that up. This off, this thing kind of comes up and off. And then another. I'm gonna actually thread this into where it goes because I know for sure that I will lose it. I'm not gonna remember that there's a Phillips head this far over, even though we're gonna be doing this real quick in like one day. I'm gonna thread that back in too. All the fasteners are back where they need to go. Okay, now we have a bunch of these little clips here. Get our tools to go up in here. Now we're on the dead pedal removal. Here, this is a piece of plastic, has to come up. This clip comes off. Again, just kind of pull with your clip tool. You can do this with a pair of needle nose pliers. You definitely can't do it with your fingers unless you're like a monster, but this right here unthreads. And then this up here unthreads with a flat blade. All right, cool. And this bottom one. So those two are clips on the dead pedal right there. So that's it. So let's pull our stuff out. This one goes here. These long ones go on the dead pedal. These ones that thread in go with the accelerator. All this stuff comes out. We're ready to now pull the carpet out on the driver's side only. We have a few more clips underneath some plastic on the passenger side, and then the whole thing's ready to come out. Last tool we forgot, 14 mil for the lower seat belt. Don't forget that, that's important. That's it. I pulled this clip. There's two clips that pull out like that. You literally just take your man paws and kind of just yank up on that like that, and it comes out. And then you can kind of pull up on the carpet. It's not as easy as it looks. Yeah, you kind of have to walk it all the way around for it to come out. If you don't pull this back like that, this part right here will break. That's the only speed secret really with the entire carpet, is not breaking this plastic little ledge. I already broke it on that side. That's why I'm showing you on the driver's side. So with all that said, we're gonna pull that back and put this right back in so I don't lose that little spacer. You gotta pull this up and over. This obviously has to be undone, this 10 mil right here, up and over, just to see that coming off in real time. Up and off and underneath. You kind of want to just move it subtly without breaking it. See, I already broke it right there. Sick. Shout out to my boys Link, Andrew at Link, he's the man. All right, we're gonna go ahead and replace this whole section right here. Show you guys how to do that real quick. Again, we're gonna go ahead and remove all these, both top and bottom. We're gonna keep that side on. Remove this side, pull the fasteners down. We're gonna drill out these bottom sections and put dowels underneath here, but enough standing on ceremony. Let's get right to the show. This is gonna be USDM passenger side, driver side, that's facing front. Basically this goes like this. This is gonna be at an angle like this. This is gonna be under here like this. The assembly has this angled washer. So then tighten this here. Sits at an angle like this. So these kind of counteract that angle to where it can go straight down. These are also cut at an angle to where it kind of stand off and probably spaces those two pieces of sheet metal away from each other so that this whole system can do its job. A little bit larger, it's all one piece. So here we go, we're gonna go ahead and show you how to install it real quick. All right, we're gonna go ahead and use a unibit. We're gonna drill a 5/8 diameter hole right where these are right here. We're literally just gonna go through that single piece of upper sheet metal. We're not gonna penetrate the bottom sheet metal. We're just gonna go through this top section to where we can fit these standoffs right underneath it, just like that. So I'll show you here in just a second how that goes. These kind of go like that. All right, now we drop the standoff down into the hole, just like this. Should fit right in, should look just like that. And now we grab the other three, we'll go ahead and put those in. This will go up through the bottom, and then this will all bolt in accordingly. And so these were engineered to land on this flat side right here, partially consumed by this sound deadening. So we're gonna take up 1 inch of this sound deadening all the way to here. So we're gonna get a razor blade and our scraper and our hammer to kind of move that out. And we're gonna suck this up real quick. Now we got Loctite on it. We're gonna go ahead and start the torquing sequence real quick here. All right, we got these all snugged up real quick. This is installed, and we're gonna go ahead and torque these to 36 foot-pounds. You ready? All right, we're good. All right, see how it's starting to seat down now? It's starting to seat itself down. And it's gonna kind of move a little bit further away from those fasteners. We're gonna go to the middle one real quick. Good. Starting to flatten out now. I'm gonna go to the front one real quick. We don't have it on tight at all. As you can see, it's still kind of loose. We're gonna go back to the beginning one right here. All right, we got the Loctite on there. It's properly seated. Now we're gonna go ahead and torque those to our 36 foot-pounds 30. That's how you install the TTRBS the proper way. We did have to hit this after removing this small line of sound deadening right here. We had to kind of push that down because this little seam right here was just over a tiny bit more than it would normally be in the CAD data from Scion. So we had to just massage that a little bit after trimming the OEM sound deadening out. But a lot more surface area here. We're spreading out the force. This is a dramatically better way to do it. We're gonna go ahead and offer this to our existing customers or our legacy customers at a significantly reduced rate so that they have the best, latest revision. Obviously, this is gonna come with all of the new FRS to BRZ 3UZ systems. This will come included in the kit and all the new revisions. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to the shifter linkage now. Disconnect this. I love this. Reverse lockout works. It's proper setup, proper system, you know. We're just gonna milk the beam. It comes up. You can kind of move this in and out, up and down, and did that to where I could push it up from the bottom if I need to and get at it. So next thing, we're gonna go ahead and loosen these up. I think it's a number 6. Grab that real quick. Yeah, I can put the holes in, but there's rear holes and front holes and all sorts of adjustability in this thing. So it makes it modular. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and disconnect the shifter linkage cart underneath. Get the new longer one. And that was easy. It's in. Right, now that we got the new linkage in, we can see that we have a little bit of adjustability here. So this is where you fine tune the feel of the shifter. I like mine kind of like right there. You know, you might like it if you're a little bit taller, like kind of like that, but right there is fine. So we're gonna just kind of put it in right there. This will look pretty great in the stock location here. Put one of these snugged up in there. Last chance, that's good. These M8 fasteners don't need to go super tight. That's good enough. These M6 fasteners, on the other hand, are not tight at all. These are gonna be 76 inch-pounds for sure. No more than that. These don't even need Loctite. Nope, almost did it right there. Gotta put your reverse lockout in for sure. OEM location only, since this works just like almost exactly like an OEM shifter. The articulation's just a little bit different, but the settings for the reverse lockout are gonna be almost identical. So you're gonna put it almost right in the middle, and then you can kind of test it after you get it nice and tightened on to make sure that it's dialed in and it works for what you're doing. And just remember, reverse is this way and up on a Subaru Trans. Loosen it up a little bit, put it right in the middle right there, which is where it was in the factory. You can see how that kind of works. So we're gonna go ahead and tighten it on right there. That's how it worked. That's how it was from the factory. And my specific vehicle might be a little bit different. This is, again, 76-inch valves is really light like that. Just one finger tight. You don't want it any tighter than that. You don't want to break these off more than tight enough. Now we test it. It's never advised to row through the gears dry. This will mess up the synchronizer teeth, where the teeth kind of mesh into the other teeth on the other, part of the synchronizer. So, but this is YouTube. We have to kind of show you that it works. So basically, here's first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Here's reverse. That's how you know it works, because the reverse lockout is physically over top of that little bracket right there. You see that? And we still have a little bit of room to play. It's like, hell yeah, we're ready to go and drive this like a normal person. Okay guys, so this right here is a MAC valve that we use to replace the VSV for this back plenum switching throttle body system. The ACIS system from Lexus is the acoustic intake switching that changes the runner length. It has to do with Helmholtz principle and a lot of different things, vortices, everything kind of cramming in, getting a VE of over 100%, depending on the motor and all these other different factors, pumping, whatever. Basically, the long story short, this valve triggers an event right back here. There's a vacuum solenoid, and then it changes the runner length at a certain RPM. Through our tuning, we have found the optimal RPM is between 3,400 RPM and 3,800, because it takes a small delay of this clicking for this to open up properly. We tried to do this pulse width modulated as well. It's just an on and off. It's gonna be the best, easiest way to do it in this configuration. The reason we went to a MAC valve and pulled that solenoid, that VSV from underneath the intake, it's currently mounted on, there's like a large vacuum canister underneath the front section of the 3UZ, 1UZ VVTi intake. Also 2UZ, I think, has the same similar system. The reason we pulled it out from underneath there and put it onto the side is because it gets so hot that on all of the engines that we tested, all of them were not working. So with that said, we got this working now. We see a noticeable torque increase from low end, from off throttle, all the way through 4,500, which is when this stops working, when it switches over to that short runner length for the high RPM stuff. So this is a game changer. If you think your car is fast now, get this off of our site. This replaces, it even has stock connectors. We give you the stock OEM connector, and we terminate the pins. All you have to do is just plug that into the connector, and then we label with heat shrink which side goes to the vacuum accumulator and which side goes to the actuator back here. And so it's kind of best in this T configuration right here, with this side going to atmosphere. And we bolted all up, bent aluminum. It's all metal, top parts, plastic, but it's really reliable. I run these for my boost controllers on my race car, and those are in extremely hot environments, and it's been really consistent for the past 10 years. I've been on the same valve. So these are a proven inexpensive way. I think we're gonna have them on our site for really inexpensive, but this is the proper way to get your ACIS functioning on your 1UZ, 3UZ, even 2UZ. And this, we went ahead and 3D scanned everything. So we have one bolt coming off this OEM fuel rail, and then the two M6 fasteners coming up off the top part of the intake plenum. But this is the proper way to do it. And based on how your system is and your MAC valve, we're gonna leave this connector off so you can change the polarity accordingly. So if yours is coming on when it should be off, you can just switch the wires and then it'll work properly, even in an OEM situation. So great way to solve that problem. You'll get your low end torque back on your car. It'll feel like a new car again. So we're gonna go ahead and pull this intake. We're gonna pull the low pressure line off and show you guys how to make the low pressure line using Amazon parts.
these come off. The main show is right here, right behind this harness, right behind all this coolant BS. We got to make a line that goes right here under this. I think we're gonna go up and over this time because there's no reason not to. And that's pretty much it. So we're gonna make it to where it goes all the way over here. This one deposited right over here, and I had another line, another point for leaking, stuff like that. There's no reason for any of that. We're just gonna connect one line, and it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be the right way to do it. Now, with all that said, we're gonna get all this crap out of the way to where we can work. We'll probably take that ground off and these coolant lines out. We'll probably drain the coolant real quick here. So let me get this car up in the air for a split second. We're doing an unboxing here. We have, all this stuff is from Amazon. We have the Amazon crimper, I think, yep, 120 bucks or something like that. Very cheap, very effective. Hydraulic. And we have a universal line set. This is not a paid sponsorship or anything like that. This is just gonna get you the bare minimum stuff to get this done yourself, to where you don't have to go to a line or hose shop and spend a bunch of time and a lot of money trying to figure this out. So we basically got a lot of 6, a lot of 8 line. I think this is gonna take the medium sized line, not the smaller line. And this is gonna work for the low pressure side. It'll work for either one. It'll work for low pressure, high pressure. The pressure in this is not gonna exceed what we're doing today. So with all that said, we'll put the links to all these Amazon things in the description. That way you can either do it yourself or you can pay us to do it, and we'll just make it affordable to kind of put this on, whatever. We'll see how we feel about it. If it goes good, if it's easy for us to make a jig to test each line, we'll do it. If not, if it's not worth it, we won't do it. We'll just kind of show you guys how to do it. So with all that said, there's like 2 of everything. There's plenty of soft line for you to create all your lines. But let's dive right into it and show you guys laid out kind of what you need. This is gonna go in the front where the bumper is for the front line that goes from here to the top of the compressor. Let's go ahead and show you the top of the compressor where this high pressure line goes. So that 180-degree line goes back here. Technically it goes right underneath this part right here, the front bumper. We're gonna go ahead and take the bumper off, show you that. And it's this line here that would come off of we used a modified SC430 line, and it goes into the top of the compressor right here. And so this should have a high pressure access port right here. So this is where, now it's really important, we want a serviceable line that has a access port coming out of this. So we'll go back to our bin right there and see if we can find one that has like a system coming out of it. Same. So, all right, so something that's important, we're gonna go ahead and show the part numbers here. Wise Pick 2-piece AC, it's like a multi-piece system connector here. We have a low pressure, which is large, high pressure, which is small. We're gonna throw an O-ring on that bad boy. And this is gonna be a 2-piece. Now we have our high with the access port here. We'll be able to tighten on the this secondary fitting onto the compressor, and then we tighten this on to create the line. This is where we put the line in to then create the system. So we push this in, and then we crimp it, and then it's pretty much done. We loop this to the front, to this side right here. So this would create that high pressure line for the front portion of the AC. And again, you're gonna wanna get at least 2 sets of these. I got 3 just in case I messed up. But the reason you need 2 is so that you could put another one of these fittings on the front condenser and then loop this around out of the way when you put the bumper back on. You wanna check clearance for the bumper. Wise Pick X004TQQHH7. And then the one that you need quantity of 2 is X004L5LM5D as in dog. So that's gonna give you the 2-piece system for bolting onto the compressor and then bolting onto the condenser. And then against the firewall, this is the most important part, is this right here. This multi-piece system where you can take this off and get that tight radius right there with an O-ring fit. Here's where the rub is. We're gonna have to machine a plate to fit the OEM square tag that loops over the high pressure line to bolt this in with one 10mm. That's where the rub is. That's why nobody has made a line, is because you need that machined plate, and nobody, not China, no one has that. It's a -8 and a -4 combined Toyota, Subaru, Japan only sized system that spreads that evaporator system apart. It's a very common plate. It's on all Scions. It's on most Toyotas, Corollas, Camrys, Hondas. It's in so many different Japanese vehicles, but nobody makes that plate separately. for HVAC for Japanese vehicles. So we're gonna make it and we're gonna charge accordingly, because why doesn't this exist on the open market? So anyway, we're gonna slip that plate over this line. We're gonna create another one of these, and we're gonna crimp that using the crimper tool, and then run that all the way to the compressor side, which will be this large low pressure line. And then we'll have another access port similar to this with a low pressure system on it in here somewhere. Here it is. And this will be the other side of this. And so that's the low pressure side. So this will be one line that goes against the firewall into the compressor. And then we'll have another line right here that goes from compressor to condenser in front of the bumper right there. And that's your high pressure line. Let me show you how to do it. You oil into a 3UZ compressor, you do it into the low pressure side, which is this side here. And you wanna make sure that you are turning the compressor accordingly, the correct direction, which should be clockwise. And you wanna kind of get the oil kind of in there. And I can't remember the exact capacity, but you could just look it up for an SC430 and that'll be the correct amount. So with that said, this fitting kind of just, you wanna put this one on first, sorry. You wanna put this on first, this M10 fastener all the way on properly. Once that's on, then we can start with this. And then we don't have to clock or mess around. We can just go straight to the firewall. See, right, this is where it's supposed to go into, right into that little opening right there with a soft line. So we can just kind of thread this all the way down to where it seals on that O-ring. It's an O-ring seal on both the top and the bottom. Once you got it kind of tight, shoot it right towards the firewall. We'll make the line nice and tidy to where it fits good and you can still install it properly. All right guys, we've got a 2-piece Wise pick. This is the low pressure. Low pressure is large, high pressure is small. This goes right into the side of the 3UZ compressor just like this. OEM fitting, on. This is your low pressure, 2-in-1 low pressure with an access port Wise pick system right off of Amazon. It just kind of goes in here like this, and we're gonna clock this up like that, just like that. It is gonna interrupt with this, this nut. You're gonna have to get a tighter nut on the low pressure side to begin with. All right guys, we got our line ready for crimping. As you can see, it's a very odd, very small line. We're gonna go from the end right here. I'm not sure if you can see that. Start here at 0, kind of a slight kink. We're gonna do an estimate. It's 13.75 inches. 13.75 inches to the end of this line. And from the 180 being flat on the ground, it's about a 70-degree angle. And this is laying like that. So you can see that this line's very short, 180 on one side, a 90 on the other. This one's about 75 degrees. You can see how that's kind of canted a little bit. I'm sorry, 170 degrees. And this is a true 90 with a high pressure access point. And this is clocked inward about 70 degrees. So we're gonna go ahead and crimp it real quick for you guys on the tube, show you guys how fast it goes, and then test fit it on the car. Okay, what we have here is the line fully stretched out with the end starting at 0. We're gonna do the rubber line basically, and this is clocked shooting away from the table at about a 45-degree angle right there. If you can see, it's kind of obscure, but it's about 45-degree angle down, and then we kind of go up. The first cut is right at about 29.75 inch right there. See that? 29.75. And the second length is going to be from about 32 and 5/8 all the way to 45 and 5/8. And that's going to have a 90 at the end right there with a upturned low pressure fitting access port right there. And then, like I said, this is going to be a slightly bent 90-degree fitting. We'll call this instead of a 90-degree fitting, it'd probably be a 105-degree fitting, or a 90-degree fitting bent about 15 degrees away from the firewall. And that's a number 10. All of these parts are number 10, and this is a 1/2 inch line. Here's the part number 1/2 inch, 13 millimeter, SAE J2064 E1088C. That's gonna be your part number right there for what to use. So, yep, that's pretty much it. So this is the missing link right here. This is a 1/2 inch, or number 12, suction side crimpable line. And this bolts on right here to the Wise Pick 2-piece system. They have like a larger and then a smaller recessed, O-ringed situation. This is the industry standard now. This is how they do it. You use an adapter to go into your compressor, then you use this to create the line side of it. And the reason we did that is because we ran out of room for the service manifold gauge set to connect onto the back. Most of these universal kits will have the fitting or the plug kind of go into the back side right here. They'll have the fitting or the access port going into the back side of the straight portion of the 90. So this goes into, this is the suction side or the low pressure side of the air conditioning. It'll have the access port right here. We go to put our service onto it and it doesn't physically work. This is kind of the missing link. It kind of spits it out a little bit further and we can put it onto this driver side portion here. If you look at the clearance and all that in here, a little bit better and a little bit easier to kind of access, so to speak, with the manifold gauge sets. All right, so this is how your line is gonna look. This is the low pressure access side right here. This is how you hook up your R134 manifold gauge set in order to charge and vacuum out your system. The reason we're putting it here as opposed to right here is we want to eliminate as many connections as possible to make this as reliable as possible. Getting this system to where there's hardly any places for it to leak or break or whatnot is gonna speak to the longevity of the part.
Okay guys, so this is literally how much line you need from here to the end. It's probably about, I don't know, 13 or 14 inches, maybe whatever, but basically a small segment. Another pro tip, I use a PVC ratcheting tubing cutter and it cuts phenomenally. Let me just go ahead and show you guys how it goes. That's pretty much it. One-handed. Sick. All right, now we're gonna take the fittings off and we're gonna go ahead and crimp this. I gotta clock this real quick. So the way that I do it is I put these like 3 hash marks. Sweet. Goes in there and we'll go in there. Get it lined up like that. Just like that. I don't know if you can see those alignment marks right there. Got those lined up. All right, nothing's hitting, looks good. We'll throw some more alignment marks on the bottom here and then I'll get the clocking right. All right, I got my 3 alignment marks on both sides and we should be able to remove this. In the car. Not sure if you can see down there, but I got my alignment marks right there. Anyway, we're behind the bumper right now. It's kind of cocked at a weird angle, but you can see how it's a very different angle. It's like 170 degrees, 175, at the most, but it's basically a U-turn from there, and then it just goes straight into that high pressure side on the compressor right there. And that's pretty much it, guys. It's very simple. This line is very short. It's a 5-piece line if you include the rubber. But that's pretty much it. So with all that said, this is the right way to do it. We'll put the link to where we found this larger fitting in the description, along with, we'll probably just list the lines on the website once we start making them. I could probably make them right now, actually. But if you guys want air conditioning lines provided in the kit, just let me know. It'll be a small upcharge, obviously, but we'll get that figured out for you. It's very simple. And yeah, this is awesome. This car is awesome now. Air conditioning, cruise control, no check engine lights, revs to 7,800 RPM, uses 93 octane, stock fuel pump, stock transmission, stock differential. It's awesome. This is very plausible. We can see that I just cut all this out of the junkyard as it sits. There was a pump, an intermediate pump that flowed right here through these different systems. This might be kind of kinked up or whatever. I know. I kept it to get the logic of how that coolant circuit was going. I know, and it's straight garbage. A pretty cool setup. I think it's going to make some really exciting.
I think the ticket is going to be to cast new lowers.
Cast new lowers.
Go right down to the head, come up with the right height.
Casting. We're going to 3D print those out of metal and then machine them.
That'd be cool too.
I think casting is old tech. I think we're going to draft it. I think we're going to draft it and make these.
You young guys do all your fancy 3D stuff. I'm old.
What is going on, guys? We got a new package in from Kelford cams. That's right. We're gonna go ahead and throw cams on the 3UZ FRS. We already just put in the Kelford KVS 1UZ springs with titanium retainers. They're beehive systems. Went ahead and lubed it up real good with you know, assembly lube, and just kind of went through our paces, checked all the tolerances. You can see how crazy we went. We went ahead and detailed out every single shim, every bucket. Went to the nines on this to kind of figure out what type of tolerances we're dealing with. Cleaned all the valves, cleaned the heads, lapped the valves, made sure everything was perfect. So with that, Kelford cams. We went ahead and went with their 208-B. It would be like a stage 2 cam for a 3UZ or a 1UZ VVTi. These have a 9.85 millimeter lift on the intake side, and 9.5 millimeter lift on the exhaust side. The packaging, pretty nice. They show you exactly what goes where. But before we do any of that, we have to go ahead and pull the VVTi actuator off of the inlet cam, and the scissor gear right here off to kind of start to dress the new cams. But we're gonna go ahead and show you guys how to install those into your 1UZ VVTi or 3UZ here in a few minutes.
Okay, we are on bank 1. This is the driver's side bank. This one's reading out 9 thousandths fit in there, but 10 thousandths did not. So 9 thousandths clears. $9,998.77. Moving on to the exhaust bank. All right, now we move on to the other side, now that we got this side completely dialed in. Okay, we're gonna start with intake side. So this is 2, 4, 6, 8. And intakes are a little bit smaller of a tolerance.
Okay, as you can see here, they have these labeled left intake cam. So this would be the driver side intake cam, and then your right exhaust cam, which would go over here, and then go ahead and put this over here. Left exhaust cam, go over here, and then your right intake cam. So with all that said, we now have to kind of do the due diligence of setting up the cams and getting all the appropriate stuff off and dress the cams accordingly. All right, guys, we have our OE camshaft here, and this is the retainer ring we were talking about. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in so you guys can kind of properly see what I'm talking about. This right here is, you gotta take this snap ring off to where this whole cam gear assembly can kind of pull off and up, press, you gotta press it up. You can either do this using a hydraulic puller to kind of go like this, or you can just put this in a press and kind of push it up like this. So that's probably what we're gonna do. But more importantly, we tried to use our large set of snap ring pliers, and instead we went ahead and went with these Work Pro units here, only because the tip is a little bit more favorable. There's quite a few tips. We might use this 90 degree and kind of try to pull it up with a little flat head screwdriver and kind of work it up on either side. So let me get right to that. Let's just go ahead and get it seated and see how easy this is gonna come off. So we'll go ahead and, oop. So go ahead and put a little pressure on it. Let me tighten up the vise a little bit more. These stock shafts do have a tendency to break pretty easily, so just kind of be very careful and gingerly when you kind of go about it. Let me just kind of pry it up there, kind of work it around. There it is. All right, we got it.
This is definitely gonna be a bear getting this back on. This is a spring washer shown in the OEM diagram. It's just a waffle type of washer used normally by many manufacturers, so it doesn't really matter which way it goes on. This just kind of keeps tension to push the cam back down so this doesn't move in and out on the shaft. You can tell that this is the forwardmost part of the camshaft gear based on these little recesses right here in the scissor gear portion of the two-piece gear, helical gear. The reason that is because you need a SST from Toyota, or you can make your own. It's just a spanner wrench that kind of goes in there. It's so that you can kind of clock this scissor gear to put the assembly bolt right there. You can see that gold assembly bolt that's in there. You can essentially pull this whole unit off as one unit and press it back on with that assembly bolt in place. So that's what we're gonna do real quick here. We're gonna bring this over to the press and remove this gear. Okay guys, we made it over here to our 50-ton press. We got some lights kind of set up so you can see what's going on here. We're gonna go ahead and start cranking it. I'm gonna hold the bottom side of the shaft with my hand just so it doesn't fall on the ground. These cast OEM shafts are very, very fragile. But we got it held underneath just real quick. You don't want to support it underneath here. You want to support it only underneath this part of the gear. This part is actually machined into the actual shaft. So you only want to support it on the gear part. It ends right here. See that little ledge? That's where it ends. So you only want to support it from here to like right there. Make sure you're wearing safety equipment as much as you can to get this to go. Oh, buttery smooth, not even registering any tonnage on our vise or on our press here. Very, very easy, popped right out. Look at that. This is the OEM shaft here. This came out nice and smooth. Let's go ahead and install the Kelford cam with this on it real quick. Make sure that you get the slot right there in line with your Woodruff key right here. You want to go ahead and put this on like that. You'll feel it kind of go into the notch like that. It'll locate and then you can kind of press it back on. A lot of lubrication on the inside of this race right here, as much as we can. Again, the SST, or the whole side facing up, which would be the front of the camshaft. Again, more lube. Be generous with the amount of oil that you kind of, or assembly lube, whichever one you want to put on here. Sopping wet. That way we can get it slides on real nice. Again, I can't emphasize this enough. Get your Woodruff key lined up with your Woodruff key right here. Press this in. I'm gonna use this pump cover off of I think this is like a S600 V12 Mercedes. And the fastener kind of out of the way. Well, we want to have enough meat on this thing to kind of get it aligned. This is where you really should use a gear puller to kind of align this correctly. So we're trying to go real slow to get the bottom of the shaft to meet up with that land right there. The fastener that we're using to hold those two scissor gears together, that's gonna hit this before we get all the way pushed down. So we're trying to go real slow to get the bottom of the shaft to meet up with that land right there. Reversed on the machine. We're gonna go slow and try to press this in without damaging anything. And that's it right there. Right when you start to feel it build pressure, it's good to go. It's seated correctly on the back side all the way around, and we got plenty of room for spring washer and the C-clip to kind of go onto it. Okay, now we're back on the OEM intake side cam. This is from the right side of the engine, or the passenger side USDM. You got to put a notch in before you start to take it apart, so you know where to clock it back once you kind of get everything disassembled. It'll become very easy to kind of put it all back together. So you just take a cutoff wheel and you put a small singular notch in the side. Just like that. And the reason you do that with a cutoff wheel is so that you can fit the notch of a flathead screwdriver in, because when you go to put this back together, this top part will kind of be over just a tiny amount, like maybe half a degree or so, and you can kind of put it into both grooves and twist it to where it's flat up and down just like that. So we're gonna do this in both intake cam VVTi actuator gear assemblies. And then when you go to put them back together, it makes it dramatically easier to kind of do that whole assembly. So first off, we're gonna go ahead and pull this top fastener off, and then there's a 10mm Allen head below that. It's a 19mm socket, and this should be very lightly tightened on. Maybe you wanna hold onto the cam while you're doing this because it can fall out of the vise and break. Oh, you saw that? You saw the entire VVT actuator move to the left, so there it is. Okay, next up we have our 10mm. Want to have a partner or friend kind of help out. Moving the whole table. There it is. I like to put my parts in the order of operation in which they're removed. So we have the seal cap, then the Allen fastener here. This should be able to move freely at this point, you know, and now it should be able to come off very easily, just like that. So this is the entire assembly right here. We're now going to focus on removing this back pulley here. It does have a small dowel pin right here for alignment, and that corresponds with the 2 dots that are on this pulley. So on the, I believe it's on the passenger side, USDM, or the right side, you're going to align the singular dots, and on the driver's side, USDM, you're going to align the 2 dots when you go to put it back together. But we can get into that more here in a minute. So now we're going to go ahead and take the pulley, or the camshaft, off of the bench here. This bleeds out a lot of oil. There's oil everywhere. We're going to go ahead and clean this up real quick and then kind of mount. We're going to mount this system into the vise safely. All right, we got it off. I just banged it a bunch. You can see how it's assembled here. This kind of just goes onto this. But basically you're going to kind of hang it or press it. You're only going to press against these gear teeth to kind of get it off. And you don't want to damage these too much or else it'll cause a lot of problems with the rest of the vehicle. But now we can go ahead and pull off the cam seal. That just kind of slides off like this. And that is, the shoulder side goes towards the gear, and this side kind of goes towards the front of the piece here. So we're going to go ahead and throw this away. Get the new one, press that on. New cam seal for the other side. We'll put that one right here. Again, the shoulder side is going to be up, and it should just slide on. We need to put oil on this real quick, so we're going to go ahead and lube it with some oil right here. Got some engine oil. Put a little bit right here on the gland. Put a little bit right here where it's going to go on, and then slide it right on. And the book tells you to slide it all the way forward in its furthest forward position like this. And when you're done installing the cam onto the system and you're putting the valve cover on, that's when you slide it back into position after it's all fully assembled and tightened down. You don't do it before. It has to do with how the cap covers the front of the V mechanism. You want to make sure that that's sealed against this gland right here. You might not be able to see this, but anyway. Now we're ready to put this back on and torque it down properly. So we're going to go ahead and slide this on. We're going to put oil on this too. Let's get some oil. It's a little bit nasty. A little bit nasty. Clean it up a little bit. There we go. A little bit of oil on there. A little bit of oil on here. Put this back on. Slid right down in there. All right, sweet. All right, and it's just kind of going right on. So this is good. This is really good. Okay. So now I'm gonna chuck it back up and then tighten the fasteners accordingly. Now we're ready to put the small, these look like M5 fasteners. They're really tiny. These are gonna be torqued down to 66 inch-pounds. Very, very light torque to get these on properly. So it's hard to feel this torque on a traditional wrench. So just kind of be extra aware of what you're doing when you're doing it. I got the torque wrench set, and we'll hand tighten these as much as they'll go right now, and then we'll do the final torque here in a second. We're ready to torque them down. I'm gonna make sure it doesn't slip out, bounce everywhere, so you kind of want to hold it. It's literally that much. It's not much at all. All right, so now we got our cam seal kind of reinstalled. Now we're gonna take the VVTi system apart and remove the O-ring and replace the O-ring with the Collins Performance Technologies O-ring right here. Flip it over. These are Torx. I can't remember what the size is, but we detailed that out on our previous video. So you want to hold on to the bottom. That's very hard to hold on to. So it would be awesome if somebody made some soft jaws to kind of really hold this properly without damaging anything. So we might pop the seal back down a little bit to get a little bit more clearance to hold this in a vise. Again, it'd be great if somebody made some soft jaws to kind of hold this properly in a vise. The reason we have this tick mark on here is so when we put it back together, we can realign it. This is a very annoying thing to kind of deal with once you kind of take it off. It's spring loaded. You'll see once we kind of get into it. All right, this is a T27 Torx bit, and this is torqued to an unknown value. I want to say it's between 66 inch-pounds and less than 100 inch-pounds. So it was very, very, very easy taking that off. Like I'll show you with one finger how light this is. Hardly any pressure at all to kind of tighten these on. So very minimal pressure to kind of get these on and off. Once you kind of have these coming off, it is spring loaded. Wear eye protection and PPE accordingly. So we're gonna go ahead and glove up real quick. Every once in a while this gets stuck and you have to get a large pair of pliers to kind of pull it off. So we'll see if it comes off easily right now, just by hand. So it's not coming off easily. So we'll have to get a large pair of vice grips to kind of pry it off. We're just gonna rotate it until it kind of comes up. What we're gonna do is put a piece of paper towel around this. We have our large channel locks here. You don't want to put hardly any force at all on this thing in order to get it to kind of come off. So you're basically just trying to kind of move it. All right, chat, we got it off. All I did was I clamped it real tight with this kind of on it, this large adjustable pipe wrench, and then I held it with my hands like this and I popped it with my hands and it kind of sprung up, and we are doing good. So now that that's off, you want to keep 2 fasteners in there to kind of prevent the springing nature of pushing it all the way up. If you flip it over like this, you'll see how bad the O-ring is. We got to get that off with a super scraper. You want to scrape out towards the outside of the gear to not get anything inside of here. So that's the next step, is to kind of clean all this off properly. And we're not going to really take most of this apart, only because it's very difficult to get back together and we don't necessarily need to. So here we go. We'll just kind of use this pick to kind of get underneath that OEM hard rock hard O-ring and pull it up as easy as we can. Okay, this is going a lot smoother than I thought. There it is. Okay, we got that out. We need to get this surface cleaned off, put the new O-ring in, and we're ready to reassemble. You just want to get this nice and clean. Once it's nice and clean, we can move on to the next step, put the new O-ring in and go in from there. That surface doesn't look horrible. We're gonna take our super scraper. Not a paid endorsement, but these guys rock. Take stuff like this and just kind of scoop it off into the garbage, just like that. Rock hard to get off. That's how hard this is. It took a lot of effort just to get that off. So maybe it wasn't put on correct, or somebody didn't service it correctly or whatnot, but there we go. All right, cool. Get that off. We're gonna go ahead and hit this with the super scraper. It's still quite nasty. Okay, with the super scraper, it came off really easily. So we're gonna go all the way around this thing and kind of try to get it doctored up, so to speak. Cool, all right, it's all clean. Now we're ready to put it back on. This is why having those marks ground down into it is so important, because this gets really oily. We can see the mating mark right there. We're gonna go ahead and scrape this surface as well, just to get everything off. We got those 2 surfaces relatively clean. Now we're ready to put the new O-ring on. We're gonna put the O-ring into this groove right here. I'm gonna make sure that groove is nice and clean and none of that residual O-ring crap kind of goes back into the oil area right in there. It's just filled with oil. You don't want any of this to kind of stay down into that groove. So we're gonna pull that out real quick and kind of get it all done. There we go. Pull that off. Cut this open real quick and then we'll have our new O-ring. All right, we got a new O-ring. It's a Viton O-ring. We're gonna go ahead and put that in the groove right there. So with all that said, we'll go ahead and now clamp that down on there. Let me go ahead and refresh my gloves real quick and we'll get right to it. All right, now we got our new Kelford cam chucked up into our vise very lightly. You don't want to tighten it too much. You want the seal pushed all the way forward so that you can install this without it basically hitting the front section of the head and getting this on correctly. So next thing is we're going to go ahead and put this on. We want to lube this portion of the shaft up. That way we can kind of slide this on accurately. So we'll go ahead and get some assembly lube here. Don't forget, we still have to change out this seal right here. This thing was being kind of a pain in the butt. So I might just do that right now to get this done correctly. All right, now that we got that off, we can throw that away. Grab the new one. Got the new one straight from Toyota. And we're gonna go ahead and clean this off with a, rub it off with a rag. And then it's actually really smooth, but we're gonna hit it with a super scraper to make it perfect. This is a carbide tool that essentially kind of scrapes anything that would be sticking up, comes right off with this. So cool, that's nice and clean. We're ready to put the new seal back on. We'll go ahead and do that once this is kind of onto the system here. So we're gonna go ahead and lube this up pretty generously. You want that to slide in there pretty good and work really well. So this dowel pin right here is gonna line with a groove. There's a groove right in the, not sure if you can see that. There's a groove right at the bottom there, 6 o'clock. We're gonna line that with that dowel pin right there, slide this on slowly. All right, we got that on. I went ahead and put a little persuasion on the nut. It gently slid on. I don't think there was an alignment issue. It was just a very tight tolerance between the new dowel pin and the system. So it did go on, though. I confirmed it down here on this bottom race. It's fitting really nice and tight. So we're gonna go ahead and torque this on. 58 foot-pounds on this part here. Let me go ahead and get a different torque. We got our 10 Allen here, 10 millimeter Allen. We're gonna go ahead and grab our torque wrench, set that up, 58, and we're there. All right, cool. So now we're gonna go ahead and torque this down. Okay, that's done. Now we gotta put this on. This is 11 foot-pounds. This is a 19 millimeter. So we'll readjust our torque wrench down to 11. And then this camshaft should be good to go. All right, got to adjust it down to 11 with a 19 millimeter. Let me go ahead and see if the V portion of this still works. Yep, it still slides. Okay, good. And that'll get better when there's oil and stuff on it, so we can kind of readjust, so to speak. Put the seal on here first. Make sure it's sitting flat, flush, and we tighten it on. 11 foot-pounds. Okay, that's it. And that cam is ready to go back into the car. You basically follow those same steps for the other V actuator, pulling that off, doing the cam seal right here, lube it up substantially with oil. You gotta take that back piece off. 66 inch-pounds on those, approximately the same or less on these, since these are M5 fasteners. 11 foot-pounds there. Inside is an M10 millimeter socket head cap screw that's hollow. That's gonna get 58 foot-pounds. And then this is basically fully ready to go. So we'll pull this off here safely and get this all lubed up so that we can do our valve lash calculation. But guys, that's literally it. That's all you need to do to kind of get a Kelford cam ready to go back into a 3UZ. All right guys, what we have here, I custom made these brackets right here to work with this tool to compress the valve springs. These Kelford valve springs, these upgraded B-high valve springs, are way harder than these OEM springs here. The OEM springs, you can take your hand and slightly compress them, which is a joke. The Kelford ones are dramatically harder, like no compression at all by hand. So these will survive 8,000 RPM all day, so that's why we're putting these in. We're trying to rev the piss out of this thing, make some good power up top. So I went ahead and pre-installed the keepers into the retainer. If you see right here, the retainer has two keepers. I did it using a pick, and I kind of set the keepers like a half moon going vertically, and then I kind of put this in on the top hole here, and then I just kind of go down like this and take my pick and I just kind of push these parts down while I'm inserting it. And you need to put a piece of paper towel or something underneath the valve so that the valve doesn't go down far.
you can see that the valve's kind of moving while I'm compressing it because I'm pushing it down. And there we go. Make sure you wear safety glasses. But as you can see how easy it is to kind of knock these out. I'm just using that little light as a way to kind of see where the retainers or the keepers are. But you're just trying to get the keepers to kind of suck down into that little groove of the valve and stay in there at high RPM so they don't kind of launch into the stratosphere. I tried a different valve spring removal tool, installation tool today, and I lost a keeper. I had to get into my other head stash to kind of knock these out. But as you can see how fast this is going, this is a dramatic improvement from the OEM version of this tool. So this is a purpose-built tool for 1UZ VVTi and 3UZs. This is made specifically for this head. I went ahead and plasma / laser cut. The ones that you guys are gonna get are gonna be laser cut, but this is a proper tool made specifically for this part. So struggling a little bit with this one because it rotated as it went down. No big deal. We'll just go ahead and compress it again and push it down into that little retainer cup. And there it is right there. Kind of got to wiggle it a little bit just with everything, you know. But we'll give this one another shot. I'll pull this one back out. All right, now that it's loaded up, see how I kind of got it half moon split in the middle? That's by design. You want that in the middle, the cup kind of getting cut in the middle. That way, while you're kind of compressing this, it basically splits it down the middle. Oh, you can't even see what's going on that one. Yeah, this one in here is kind of in a crummy location, but if you set it up well and you have your tools kind of dialed in, it's not too bad. All right, so with this, we're gonna start up here, get it nice and centered like that, and then we just start to compress it down. With one hand, you take the other hand, get your pick in there, push it down accordingly. Once it's kind of down in that little seat right there, make sure you have a piece of paper towel underneath it to where the valve stops on something and it's not bending or anything. It's not damaging the valve in any way. There it is. Okay, this is a particularly bad situation because now that could have launched the keeper into the stratosphere, so we want to kind of push the keeper back down in there, pull this back out, kind of reassess the keeper, see why it's kind of not aligning correctly. There it is. Get that thing realigned, and you go ahead and put it back in. All right, now we're going to go ahead and give it a shot again. This is something that takes, it's pretty tedious and takes a little bit of time, but get it dialed in. All right, we got that one dialed in. That was probably one of the hardest ones. We're gonna move on over to this side over here and knock out these other three, and then we're gonna reposition this bracket to the end. This bracket accommodates both bolt patterns for the end of the valve cover and for the center location. So whatever you want to do, it kind of wants, it's pretty good at doing it. All right, we're back on the other side, and I'm going to go ahead and just preload these retainers with the keepers kind of in spot. I loaded these onto the bench using a pick. All right, and then basically we just kind of use this on this little shaft right here. It's on the cantilever portion, so it's kind of sticking out a little bit, but it works just fine either way. So, and the Kelford retainers are, the springs are directional, so you can only put them in one way. Hard to mess it up, but these retainers go right into the top of the small end of the spring. It allows for a nicer, larger chamfer on the bucket. So if you get their shimless buckets, or I don't know if they're DLC coated buckets or whatnot. I haven't really played with them, but they have a larger chamfer to make them stronger, etc. So you can see where this spring started to compress just now, and that is a necessary evil when doing these, because these things kind of walk around a little bit and the keepers kind of get caught in the crossfire. But that one went not too bad. First try, and it's done. So we'll go ahead and move this over a little bit. Keep my light there. Go ahead and start knocking this one out. Sweet. There it is. That was pretty easy. All right, last one on this side, and then we got to move the bracket. Boom. Look how easy that is. That was simple. So now all we got to do is move the bracket over real quick. This is in real time. I'm talking, and this is my voice talking as we're doing this, and I'm compressing it down. The spring kind of went down with it, so let's pull that back up, and that's it. All of 7 seconds, I don't know, 10 seconds. That's it, the whole head's done. So look at that, that's sick. And now we can rev this thing to 9,000 RPM. And I just bolted it down on my table with these little clamps here and the exhaust ports. And then you can also lift the head up too. You can see the paper towels that I used. That's it. It's all done. We have air conditioning! How cool is that? Oh my God, it's getting colder. Oh yeah. Chat, we got air conditioning. It feels lovely in here. And it revs to 7,800 RPM. This car is so rad.